Hello everyone. So Ukraine has shared a pretty cool compilation of videos here, showing new drone strikes in Crimea and a couple in Donetsk. Up first we see a Panzer S-1. This is in Feodosia in Crimea, positioned on top of a small hill, which I believe increases radar coverage for these. Feodosia is where a Russian shipyard is, and there's a ship being built there, so this Panzer would be protecting that. It is hit by a drone, but we don't have a second drone or a spotter drone to record an impact here, so we can't really confirm its destruction. Up next, we move into the Donetsk region where a short-range Ossa SAM system is destroyed. This is near a tree line and gets hit on the side by a drone. This time, we are able to confirm the destruction because a follow-up drone flies overhead and sees the Ossa SAM system burning. So, this is quite a good strike here, destroying the Ossa SAM system, which are quite rare now. I'll get to the numbers later. A rarer target is up next as well. A Tunguska self-propelled AA gun, which is hit on the front. No spotter drone for this one unfortunately, so we can't confirm its destruction. The next target is a Buck M1 SAM system. This is hit by a drone and destroyed, with follow-up drones catching the cook-off and seeing the Buck burning. This is a key target, because the Buck is Russia's only mid-range SAM system. You can see too that this is deployed and ready to engage, but fails to even detect and try and intercept the drone here. Interestingly, when a follow-up drone flies overhead the crash site, something flies past. At first I thought this might be a Russian jet, but it's apparently another FP-2 attack drone on its way to hit another target, so that's pretty cool to see. The sky's full of FP-2 drones. So, strike one Buck, completely destroyed. After the Buck, we have a strike on a fuel depot in Crimea, which you can see gets destroyed one of the oil tanks because a second follow-up drone flies overhead, which shows the oil depot burning quite heavily too, so this was hit good. The next target is also oil storage, again in Crimea, but in a different town, and again, we can see this burning heavily after the drone strike, so a pair of good strikes here on Russian oil. The next target is the biggest cheese of them all. This is a pair of strikes on Iskander bases reportedly destroying launchers inside the warehouses. One warehouse is burning heavily, which does seem to hint that an Iskander was destroyed whilst inside it at the time. Hopefully, we can get confirmation of that. After the second strike on the neighbouring warehouse, however, there is no spotter drone around to record the aftermath here, but it does seem to me like at least one Iskander was completely destroyed given the fire we see burning at the warehouse afterwards. I guess it could be a missile rather than a launcher, but it looks a good spot, and this was reported by Ukraine to be Iskanders here. The next base is also in Crimea, but in a different town. Once again, this was reported by Ukraine as being a warehouse with an Iskander inside that's hit and set on fire. And we also see a second drone hit another nearby warehouse, confirming the fire on the first one. No follow-up drone though, to show the destruction of a second drone strike. Hopefully, Iskanders were inside. Next, we have a move to the next gear and another solid strike. This is described by the upload as being a Rubicon drone storage area in Donetsk, and this is hit by Ukrainian drones. Multiple drones hit this place, so this must have been identified by Ukraine as being a key target. And we also see with a follow-up drone that the building is burning very heavily afterwards, which indicates something important was here which was destroyed. This building is absolutely malleted. Multiple drones used in the strike. Hopefully, that means a lot of Russian drones were stored here and destroyed here. For this one, we also have some photos and videos of the ground which are included in the video, which show that the warehouse was completely destroyed here. To use this many FP-2 drones on it must have been something important, so the description that this was Rubicon drones here does seem like it could very well be accurate. Finally, at the end of the video, we have 4 clips shared at once which show strikes on Russian logistics. These are hitting supply trucks of the Russian army in various places. More important that we see, as hitting Russian logistics ensures that the supplies that they're carrying can't reach the front line, so food, ammunition, fuel or whatever, the vehicles carrying them get destroyed, the stuff they carried gets destroyed, it can no longer resupply the front line troops, so a very important target even if it may seem a bit boring. But overall, a pretty cool compilation video here, with a number of strikes hitting some very important targets seen. The biggest cheese here is, I think, the Iskander launchers, if Iskanders can be confirmed as being inside at the time. But considering the way that the warehouse was burned down afterwards, it does seem that something important and exploding was inside. Either Iskander launchers themselves or Iskander missiles. So, it does look very promising. Now, whilst the video plays and replays and stuff, I'm going to go through some numbers here of the vehicles destroyed by Ukraine. So, first of all, we saw a Panzer S1 SAM system being destroyed, and we have 44 of these up on Oryx so far. Now remember, Oryx's numbers are on the low side. Firstly, not every loss is documented and photoed and videoed, so the true number is definitely higher. And even ones we've seen videos of sometimes in the past don't get added to Oryx or wall spotting if there's no spotter drone to record the impact and confirm the damage. So the true number is definitely higher than that 44. It isn't really known how many of these Russia has. They had around 120 or 130 in service at the start of the war, but these are still under construction, and we don't seem to see a shortage of them. There are still decent numbers knocking about, including 14 guarding Putin's palaces, not to mention ones at key targets such as Moscow, and key military targets such as ports and oil refineries and Russian airbase. Russia, for some reason, thinks very highly of a Panzer. They're about the only country that does, and they typically deploy them for point defence of major targets. Like here, it's in Feodosia port, presumably protecting the port and the shipyard there. Next, we saw a short-range SAM system being destroyed. 37 of these are on Oryx so far. These are older SAM systems and quite mobile. Russia had around 100 in service. They're a bit rarer than other SAM systems such as the Tor, but we still see them occasionally popping up near the front line. The Tunguska is a self-propelled AA gun and quite outdated now. Russia had around 190 in service. These are a bit rarer, just 16 on Oryx so far, so a nice rare target destroyed here. Then of course we saw the Buck, around 140 confirmed destroyed on Oryx and War Spotting so far, but the true number is certainly higher. I'd guess around 160 or more, maybe as much as 170 so far. Ukraine hit these very hard last year, and that's led to some big gaps in Russia's mid-range SAM coverage. To such a degree, from the start of last year, we saw a big increase in Ukrainian drone airstrikes. Russia had 310 in service, but I believe these are still under production as well. Then, the Iskander, the biggest target of the lot here, which is a missile launcher. Just 3 of these destroyed so far, plus a handful of loader and support vehicles. These have quite a long range, so they are quite rare targets. If these are confirmed to be in the building, then we could be seeing up to 4 more destroyed. But that isn't confirmed. Russia had just around 160 launchers in service, and these are major targets, as Russia uses these to target Ukrainian cities a lot, and occasionally to hit actual military targets such as HIMARS launch sites, Patriot batteries, air bases and the like. So, a good series of strikes here, all from around the same date. So Ukraine had a busy night's work then, hitting some important targets. The Iskanders are the biggest targets here, but all are pretty solid. And as we saw with the strikes on the SAM systems, Russian air defence remains pretty ineffective and useless. So that's it for this video. Hope you found it interesting. Now before we finish, I'm going to play a video message from Sanath about the ongoing fundraiser it is doing. Thanks so much and take care everybody.
Hello Sukhami's community. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sanath and I'm a volunteer that's been living in Ukraine for the past 15 years. At the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, many of my friends went to join the military, but I stayed on to work as a volunteer, and in that time we've run many fundraisers with the channel, so thank you to everyone who supported our cause. The last fundraiser we did ended really well. We're able to deliver 2 pickup trucks converted to BMW power units, and they're out there now doing really great service to the guys. But unfortunately we lost a vehicle recently. It was taken out by some FPV drones. The good news is no one was hurt, and it did last 2.5 years, which is a fabulous run, doing all it's supposed to do, ferrying troops to the front, providing supplies, evacuating civilians. And that's the reason we're running this new fundraiser, to provide a replacement vehicle for the guys. It's going to be a Mitsubishi Pajero installed with a BMW power unit, giving them that really robust 1990s 4x4 capability, mated to a modern BMW power unit, which means it's really powerful and also extremely reliable. So with your continued support, we'll be able to bring this war to a successful conclusion. Slava Ukraini!